is virtually unchanged. All day, all night, all white. We make no apologies for our prime audience, but true to the best of our tradition, we're committed to expanding justice and freedom for all. So when we receive messages from listeners like Neil, we just smile.
I realize that I'm not your target demographic, but I love listening to your station as it is the only progressive station on the dial.
That's us. Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in to First Things First with the Queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. This show is called First Things First. My first thing today and every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and doing this job that I love so well. So we stir the pot around here. First hour, we typically do the left coast. We do the Cali side of town. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive, the person of interest or a hot topic. So today is pretty much along those lines, although as you well know, we are in election season, so that means we have some deviation going on because we got a lot of folks to get in here before it's time to vote for you to understand and be ready to vote. It's Mindful Mondays, of course, because it is Monday, so we get our minds right for the week, set our intentions. Also, Blockbuster this morning have Attorney Dermot Givens checking in with us. This is the attorney representing Dr. Melina Abdullah in the police swatting case where they swatted her house. And now it appears that the attorney has been pretty much swatted himself with a police raid on his home. And we'll get the scoop on that the second hour. And it is a Black Marriage Monday. So what does that mean? We get to talk to the Ma'ats. Mr. and Mrs. Ma'at are family therapists, marriage and family educators, and they come on the last Monday of the month, right before y'all get to paying them bills and stuff, shore up your marriage and make things, as good as possible. Joining me now, you hear him on the show from time to time, and he's going to be tapping in with us once a month. He's a journalist, producer, film documentarian, and member of the National Association of Black Journalists. James Farr, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
You know what? I'm doing good this morning. Monday morning, great weather over the weekend. Got some rain coming, though.
Yeah, but not today, I don't think.
No, not today at all.
I think we have another really nice one in front of us, which is great. I can use it. I know we need the mail and we need the rain as well, and that's fine. But it's nice to have a little break. Remember, we're from Cali.
Right. I mean, it's coming. You remember this time last year, it seemed like it wouldn't stop raining. So good reprieve, 70s in January. But I want to congratulate you on your being ranked 9th in the top 20 U.S. markets. The last time I was here, that wasn't announced, and that's such a huge accomplishment and for you and the KBLA delegation.
Well, it's much appreciated. It's nice to show up on these lists. You know, the lists of talk radio people are often mostly men and mostly white, so it's nice to make the list. I know Tavis has made quite a few lists himself, but, you know, that's to be expected. Tavis has been a national air talent on TV and radio for decades. So good stuff. You know, I want to cover what's going on, some of the things, messages going on in Pasadena, because that's where you live, and that's really what you mostly write about in your work with the Progressive and online. But I also, you know, want to cover things going on in Cali, and it's most definitely election season. One of the things you did is put on a forum for those running for that assembly seat,
Right.
which is being freed up because Chris Holden is termed out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you have Holden looking to move into the LA County Board of Supervisors. So for those who see him on the ballot in LA, and you know, you're used to not being able to vote for him because he's Pasadena, what should we know about Chris Holden?
Chris Holden is, well, first of all, he is a stalwart and comes from a legacy family of elected officials. We know who his father is here in Los Angeles, Nate Holden. But Chris specifically is a good guy who genuinely cares about his constituency, right? And he's very visible in the 41st District, which he currently is the state assembly member of. His family has been in the community for quite some time. You know, he's just really been leading the charge in many respects with many in the Black Caucus up in Sacramento with passing some of this legislation for police reform and different bills, working with the governor. So
I'm assuming from that assessment that you like Holden for the Board of Supervisors.
Well, you know, I mean, if you're asking me, am I making an endorsement? I mean, I like Chris as a person, right? I know him personally. Would he make a good supervisor? Absolutely. The incumbent, Catherine Barger, you know, is nothing to shake a stick at. She's a well-established elected official in our area.
And you know what? I always, is it Barger or Barger? I think it's Barger, but whatever. She is the closest thing we have probably to a Republican.
Close.
Well, she is a Republican. Yeah, she is a Republican. But the reason I say that is because she has a reputation for actually being, you know, a kind and affable human being, which not all, you know, Republicans in the MAGA era
well, I mean,
are taking a different tack. They tend to be more
if
Trumpian.
If you look at that district specifically, right, like, I mean, it's the largest geographical district in Los Angeles County. I mean, you're talking about stretching, you know, to Pomona, all the way up just a little bit past Lancaster. So it's a larger population in the district, but it also reflects kind of, you know, a Bakersfield kind of quality in the sense that once you get out of Pasadena, you get into some of these other neighboring cities. They look like Fresno in terms of population. Their politics look like a Bakersfield, you know, and so you'll see MAGA signs, you'll see Republican paraphernalia. It's a whole different area outside of kind of the urban center of, if you will, Pasadena of the district.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I always talk about a tale of two states because I feel like California is actually quite bipolar, even though we are talked about as a blue state. There's a big, big red swath all through the center of the state and in pockets elsewhere, Orange County and the like, where you wouldn't think we were at all liberal, progressive, BIPOC dominated. And that's because the population centers, you know, sway the vote. Places like LA, San Francisco, where there's more people and there's more black people, more Latina, API, et cetera, et cetera. So it sways California into the blue column. But if you look at it as a state, what you're describing in Pasadena is a pattern that repeats again and again in our rural areas. Tend to be much more conservative, tend to be more white, and really, I would say more Republican, if not all the way Republican.
And even some of those purported progressive, right, liberal whites, right, they still kind of have this moderate tone to them and are very susceptible to being Karens and, showing up with other forms of whiteness.
Are you saying those moderate Republicans across the progressive liberals, whatever, across the state, or are you talking about in those particular areas?
Well, in any of the urban centers. So let's just isolate the 5 counties in the Bay Area, right? And then also Los Angeles County, right? Where, as you were saying, there's much more of a populace of blacks, right? Once you get in the fringes, kind of the suburbs of those areas, and then continue to kind of layer out, that's where you see a more reflective look of how the rest of the country looks. More white, more conservative, more Republican.
When you say the rest of the country, though, because what is it, by 2040, BIPOC people are the majority?
We're talking about whiteness,
across
though,
the country.
Dominique.
Okay, but by 2040, Black, Latino, and Asian people are the majority in this country, so it can't look that white everywhere.
I'm talking about whiteness as an identity. I'm not talking about it as a color. I'm talking about whiteness as politics. I got you. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. In terms of who will assimilate into whiteness, that's a different conversation.
Yeah, and what does assimilate really mean? I understand what you're saying. Who votes that way?
Right.
Who walks that way? Talks that way?
Who enjoys white privilege?
Or the illusion of inclusion, because wait till the police come and let's see how much of that white privilege you really have. I mean, it's a fair point, though. It's about, how you identify particularly when it comes to voting.
Absolutely.
Because when you go in that booth, you can be as white as you want to be. No one else is there but you. And, whatever we're defining whiteness as, because we know it's a social construct.
Absolutely. So, back to your point about Chris, will Chris make a good supervisor? Absolutely.
Well, yeah. And to your point, Chris will have a tough run because, Supervisor Barger is no joke. She's been there for some time. I think this would be her last term, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And she's pretty popular.
And then there's a third candidate, the mayor of Burbank, Constant. Oh, goodness, his last name, forgive me, but it's slipping me. So those are the 3 candidates vying for that seat. So
does the mayor of Burbank, I wasn't tracking the mayor, Nick Schultz, is that who it is?
Not Schultz, or maybe it's Glenda. I'm sorry.
Okay,
yeah.
so does this mayor have a chance?
Well, they all have a chance, right?
No.
No. Okay.
Sorry. I mean, we could say, well, I guess, yeah. We could say theoretically everybody has a chance, but I mean,
Well, I think...
more than a snowball's chance?
Well, we get a little snow up in the mountains above
all
Pasadena.
right.
But no.
You must be running for office, James, because you're talking just like a politician right now.
I think no one will win on March 5th. I think we're headed to a runoff.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, looks like we'll have several of those. 800-920-1580 if you want to weigh in on any of these things. We got lots of stuff going on, not just in Pasadena, right where we're sitting in Lamert Park. And wow, the national scene is just insane. They kind of threw the book at LA City Council member Jose Huizar. That and more when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Some people just know the best places to eat around town. Those are the people who know to choose Allstate. They know exactly where to go to get exactly what you're wanting. They know where to find the spiciest hot pot, the gooeyest brownies, and the tenderest, most flavorful portobello steak. Those people also know that safe drivers save 40% with Allstate.
Saving 40% is based on the national average premium savings for Allstate auto customers with a clean driving record versus those without. Savings vary by state and vary based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles lets you choose your perfect duo from your fave 4, like a sausage or egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in the combo. Single item at regular price.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like your style, though.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the exclusive media sponsor of this light of ours, activist photographers of the Civil Rights Movement. A dynamic new exhibition on view now at the Skirball Cultural Center in Los Angeles. This light of ours showcases more than 150 photos taken by movement insiders from diverse backgrounds that reveal the vital work undertaken by a broad coalition of organizers and everyday people whose collective action changed America. This light of ours is one of 3 temporary exhibitions currently on view at the Skirball, which together explore issues related to civil rights, immigration, and pluralism. Tickets and more information for all 3 exhibitions are available at skirball.org. That's skirball.org. SKIRBALL.org.
Every business seeks an advantage, whether it's having the best location, hiring top talent, or spotting trends before they happen. And now, the United States Postal Service can give your business a new advantage. Introducing USPS Ground Advantage. Reliable and affordable 2 to 5 day package shipping. It's the advantage you need at the price you want. Get the Ground Advantage at USPS.com/advantage. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now. So much going on. So you got the update on the supervisor, the assembly race. The mayor of Burbank.
No, not for the assembly. I'm talking about for the supervisor's race. Yes, he's the former mayor of Burbank. Constantine Anthony is the 3rd candidate in the supervisor's race.
Okay, yeah, I did read that. I think, like you said, everybody has a chance at all times, but a good chance, maybe not.
Well,
Yeah, okay. You never know, right? The thing about it is a supervisor's race is more than a notion. I mean, our LA County supervisors have more people in their districts than most states have.
Tremendous amount of power, if you will, political power, resources, right? Discretionary funding and things that they can do.
And responsibility. I mean, you're talking about, a couple million people?
Yeah, I mean, Los Angeles County is one of the largest, if not the largest, by populace in the nation. And so, and like you're saying, I mean, we have a population bigger than some countries, bigger than some states. A gross domestic product larger than many nations. And so when you divvy that up amongst those supervisorial districts, it's a lot of responsibility, right? And it's a lot of influence that goes into that office.
Yeah, and, of course, you have former Sheriff Alex Villanueva running against Janice Hahn. And I don't want to say he doesn't have a chance because you don't know, but you never know, but I hope he doesn't have a chance. I mean, he would make a terrible supervisor. There's just no other way to put it.
And there's certainly a parallel to the national. I hope folks aren't fooled twice, right? I mean, the guy they should have believed him the first time when he ran for sheriff, right? He told people that he was a progressive and then completely flipped.
Well, yeah, he lied. I don't think he flipped. I think he was just trying to play a game, play a role, get elected, and I think he was that little MAGA troll all along.
Every election cycle, there always seems to be a clown in the circus, right? So, I mean,
just one.
Well, sometimes several, right? But, he, if nothing else, the guy is foolishly entertaining, right? And extremely arrogant in his presentation.
I used to find him entertaining too, but on the board of supervisors, once he became sheriff, it's just not that entertaining because people's lives are at stake.
I mean, Supervisor Hahn, she has a track record and again another legacy, right? Legacy family of service, and so I don't want to believe that the voters will be wooed.
Legacy alone doesn't do it for me. I mean, says a legacy kid, right?
You, yeah.
Me, yeah. I mean, so if, so my dad is, the great poet Amiri Baraka, I could still be not about ish, you know what I mean? I feel like we do the best we can to uphold the legacy of our families, and then there's a certain part of it you just got to do yourself.
Well, Dominic, that is a poor example because you are excellent. So
Thank you, but no, you know what I'm saying.
I feel you.
The point is, I can't just be like, well, my papa is. Well, okay, what have you done lately? But and I'm not saying that as a knock on either Holden or Hahn.
Sure.
But I think, surely at least for black voters, Hahn's participation in Bruce's Beach should be enough to, you do something to further the cause of restitution, reparations. That's a check box for me.
Absolutely. I mean, good, bad, or indifferent. But again, when you're speaking about that legacy, like my father was an elected official. So when you have that proximity, that's kind of what I'm talking about in terms of familiarity, kind of understanding what service is. I mean, you saw your father in the private and vulnerable spaces that perhaps the public didn't get to experience him in, and so
right. But you still grow up. You grow up at rallies. You grow up at poetry readings,
right.
and presumably, if you're a Hahn, you know about city council meetings and mayoral duties by the time you're 2.
Right.
And there's an advantage to that. I'm not saying there isn't. I'm just saying.
Nor am I offering it as an ultimate qualifier, right?
Right, yeah.
But definitely it does give some familiarity with what is expected, right?
Yeah.
And then you are kind of judged or measured by what your legacy is.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like they will be judged and kind of measured by the legacy and history of what their fathers and folks in their family did in politics.
Yeah, that's the reason I never wanted to write when I was younger. Like, everyone's going to judge this based on my parents and say, what's wrong with her? But at a certain point, you got to show up and suit up.
You write every day with your mouth, right?
That's not the same. Anyway, so Weezar got 13 years, and that is the most I believe that they were allowed to give him under the plea deal because he pleaded out. So there was no question about whether he did the many criminal acts that he was charged with. And they said it was going to be between 9 and 13. He wrote a letter. His lawyers tried to get it down to 9. But the Judge John F. Walters said they needed that 13-year sentence to engender respect for the nation's anti-corruption laws. They made an example of him.
Oh, they stretched him. I mean, and if they could have stretched him further, they would have continued to pull him further into being in prison, right? I mean, the question is why? Like,
why did they stretch him?
No, why did he do it?
Why did he accept? Brown paper bags full of cash and prostitutes and gambling chips.
I mean, is it so much arrogance, or is the elixir of power, and proximity?
I mean, he said they dangled shiny objects. He couldn't resist. I think it's a fairly weak excuse, but I don't,
Well, those shiny objects is a syndrome, right? And it is a very powerful thing for people, right? And so I just don't understand why they would do it, knowing that you're gonna get caught, right? Like, I mean, and
well, yeah, but people think they're not. I mean, or maybe they think they're Trump. We got news, traffic, and sports right now. Then we continue. We get an update on Officer tasing Crutchfield and what's going on with that situation when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. GOP presidential hopeful and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley says the primary in her home state is not do or die. Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press, Haley acknowledged that she needs to do better than she did in the New Hampshire primary, but can still make a strong showing without actually winning the state. Family and friends are remembering the victims of the recent Joliet, Illinois murders. A vigil was held yesterday outside one of the homes where 7 of the 8 victims were found dead on January 21st. Cops say Romeo Nance, who was black, killed his mother, aunt, uncle, and 4 siblings at 2 homes before shooting another man in a random attack. He later died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound after being pursued by U.S. Marshals in Texas. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Both of LA's NBA teams are on the road today. The Lakers are at Houston. The Lakers are over 500 for the first time since December 30th. 5 p.m. tip-off in Houston. The Clippers are in Cleveland. Game 3 of a 7-game Eastern road trip. The Clippers have won 5 straight. They are just 1 game behind Oklahoma City and Minnesota for the best record in the Western Conference. 4 p.m. tip-off in Cleveland. The Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl for the 2nd straight year. They beat Baltimore to win the AFC title. The Chiefs will play the 49ers in the Super Bowl February 11th in Las Vegas. The 49ers held on for a 3-point win over Detroit to claim the NFC title. Students and alumni at Florida A&M finally have a new head football coach after a month-long search. Assistant coach James Cozy was promoted to take over the HBCU program. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Got me a damn girl on my team.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe we have the best tag team in morning radio. Dominique DiPrima and Tavis Smiley. As the first black woman in Los Angeles to anchor a morning drive talk radio show, Dominique covers local politics like a blanket. Weekday mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., Dominique passes the baton to Tavis Smiley, who talks to everybody about everything every day until 12 noon. KBLA's dynamic duo, Dominique and Tavis. It's no wonder the LA Civil Rights Department is honoring Dominique DiPrima this year at its Tell Our Story honoring black journalist leaders and storytellers event, Thursday, February 8th. Or that the John M. Langston Bar Association of Los Angeles is honoring Tavis Smiley at its 47th Annual Installation and Scholarship Awards Gala with its Community Impact Award on February 10th. We couldn't be more proud of Dominique and Tavis, who make black history every day, not just in February. If you're missing Dominique and Tavis weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Holla, yeah.
Hello, I'm John McKinney, your candidate for District Attorney. As an African American who has served our community for over 25 years, I'm proud to have successfully convicted the killer of Nipsey Hussle, standing up for justice where it matters most. But my commitment extends beyond the courtroom. I'm deeply invested in youth development. And when it comes to our police, I believe in accountability. It is essential that those who protect us are also responsible to us, reflecting the values and integrity of our community. This election, I ask for your vote. I am John McKinney, and I'm running to be your district attorney. Learn more at McKinneyforLA.com.
Paid for by John McKinney for LA District Attorney 2024.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. The but there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
We're for Washington. We love Febrez's new scent. Refresh and energize.
So much we made a song about it.
I can't escape this feeling inside. Refresh and energize. It's a mood, it's a vibe. Breathing for the first time. So free, so alive. Breathe happy for breathe. Smells like paradise. Breathe happy for breathe.
The thing no one tells you about periods is that your flow changes every day, and so should your tampon size. Tampax has 5 absorbencies to match your changing flow. If it hurts to remove, go down a size. If it leaks, go up a size. Only Tampax has a leak guard braid to help give you up to 100% leak and odor-free protection. All-day comfort and protection for under $5 a month. Based on average U.S. consumer usage at manufacturer suggested price. However, pricing is at the sole discretion of the retailer. Excludes 8 counts.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, indeed. I thank you for waking up with me. James Farr is here as well. I believe last time you were on the show. And just to be clear, you have the Conversation Live. You also write for the LA Progressive. And there's one of the publishers of that particular publication has done an interview with me, which is on laprogressive.com.
Yes.
Right this second.
Right this second.
That was interesting.
Sharon Kyle, sending some love and positive energy to Sharon.
Yeah, I love Sharon. She sometimes comes on and graces us with her presence on the show, even though I know she's not a morning person, so it's much appreciated.
No, she's a warrior, though.
Yeah, so if you want to see that, she actually... I didn't know we were recording, so I look crazy. If you want to see me looking crazy, you can just go to YouTube right now, but youtube.com, KBLA 1580. So there's an interview with me up on the LA Progressive, but of course today you have an article dropping on laprogressive.com. It's daily, actually, that publication. That's updating us about what's happening with the case of Officer Tyson Crutchfield, and apparently it's not just her. There are now other whistleblowers. This is something you said was going to happen, and Attorney Gage mentioned when he was on the show. So give us an update about where we are with these other whistleblowers from the Pasadena Police Department. Tazen Crutchfield, of course, the black woman who tried to de-escalate a stop with her partner and was actually punished for doing what we wish more cops would do.
Absolutely. So, as you bringing this story forward, when we were last here, I was here with you, and then you had Attorney Gage on. 2 more officers have come forward, right? One officer, Jarvis Shelby, has filed a claim that he was put into a chokehold by a commanding officer, right? And then Sergeant Milton White Jr., another African-American officer, witnessed some portion of it. It's not clear how much or what, but what, as a result of it, Shelby has been out on a medical leave. So it would seem, when you kind of try to imagine, like, what level of force was this that would kind of injure someone, right? Gage held a press conference announcing, again, the continuum of issues with Officer Crutchfield not receiving cover when she was dispatched to a call with a weapon, kind of like in this retaliatory tone is what her attorney is alleging. Gage held a press conference announcing the Jarvis Shelby incident. His mother spoke, White's wife spoke, and so a continuum of things happening. Our Chief Harris attended. It's interesting. He attended the press conference, kind of stood in the back, kind of leering at the press conference and leering at, the gaggle of media and family and community members, said nothing, and then ultimately releases a video statement claiming that the alleged assault and violence that the officers are claiming unequivocally did not happen. right? And that he had receipts, and that there was a thorough investigation. Now, I know that you and neither of us can say unequivocally something happened or did not happen unless we were there, right? And
Right.
so it's a little suspect. So in one respect, he's essentially saying that these officers are lying, right?
Right. And in your article, you make the point that if the chief has already called you a liar, that's a problem for you if you're going to testify in court about anything.
It's
forward.
a huge problem. These officers, I mean, he's impugned their credibility, right?
I mean, could that also lash back on prior cases?
It absolutely could expose some jeopardy to these officers' credibility. So, it wouldn't be out of the question that defense attorneys that are on cases that these officers are on are going to be filing pitches motions, right, to really look into their background. Now, the public and activists call police intellectually dishonest all the time, right? Now your own chief is questioning whether or not something actually happened. And so, I think the response that the chief made was a little rushed, right? Perhaps not the best. It certainly is going to potentially expose the taxpayers in the city of Pasadena to higher settlements if these things go to court. Chief says that they can't comment and then turns around and comment. It's very confusing. And then with Crutchfield, earlier this month at a police oversight commission meeting during a presentation, an hour-long presentation that the chief made, he touted that no black officers were disciplined. And when the question was raised about Crutchfield, he emphatically said that her probation was not extended, right, as a result of her intervening and the subsequent events and administrative leave. He said that absolutely not. He has the receipts. Well, documents tell a entirely different story. I mean, it's right there on the paper, probation extended. And so if those officers are lying or dishonest, are all officers? I mean, what do we believe now? What should the public believe?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. I mean, it's a really good question, and I guess that's why we have courts. That's why we have the ability to challenge things in court or challenge them either in the court of public opinion or court of law to bring legal action.
Well, I mean, again, police often say you can't get in someone's head, right? Like they'll tell you that when an officer's involved in a shooting or use of force, well, we can't get in their head, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to them speaking about what the public is doing, right, or when they're in the course of their job, they can predict and forecast and assess, and make all of these assertions about what motive is, like in the case with Michael Cooper's brother, Mickey Cooper, who was murdered, and the suspect who was held. The department concluded that this guy was diabolically evil, right? Mm-hmm. Without any context, without any explanation. What they projected is that this unhoused, mentally ill person who has still yet to be arraigned, right? His hearings keep getting pushed over and pushed over. What does that tell you? He's not fit to stand trial. This is a mental health issue. But, they'll project that onto the public.
Mm. Yeah, well, I guess that's why they say we always have to question the official story, because I do think this is one of the areas where I think Americans have gotten more savvy, aside from those who have a craven interest in just telling one side of the story, that we don't just wholesale buy the official story anymore, at least not as frequently as in the past. And where people are saying, well, let me see the receipts. Let me see the evidence. Let me see the body cam. Let me see. So these other whistleblowers that you're talking about, are they suing the department?
So as of right now, Crutchfield has, Sammy DeSilva has filed a lawsuit. Crutchfield has filed a lawsuit. Shelby has filed an intention is in that process of filing a lawsuit. As I understand it, as of now, White just has legal representation at this point.
So far, there are two Pasadena police officers suing the department.
Yes.
One is in motion, and the other one we'll see because they retain counsel.
Well, 3. There are 3 in motion.
Okay.
Yeah. Crutchfield.
Mm-hmm.
De Silva, Crutchfield, Shelby.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said one just was in the process but hadn't actually gotten. But that's a large number for a small department. That's a large number of officers to be taking legal action against their employer.
Well, I mean, if you on a micro level, yes, it is, right. It's for a department of 250 or so, a little under 400 total employees, right, sworn and unsworn. That is a lot, right, when you kind of hear what these issues are.
Mm-hmm.
But, while it's not L.A., but by populace, it's not L.A., right? So if you scaled this, right, I'm scared to know what those numbers would actually look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the culture, this is what we're talking about. It's not policy. It's not even law. It's culture. And then you're talking about an official story, right? Well, you and I write and we, put content. How much is left on the editing floor, right? And so there's always more to the story. And so the public, through Public Records Request Act, are becoming more informed and more engaged, and information is becoming more available with the technology where they can't, municipalities and departments can't oppress people with exorbitant copying fees, right, and mailing fees. This information now becomes available electronically and almost instantly, and so it's shining a different level of accountability that I think most departments generationally are too antiquated to understand how technology is keeping up.
Talking with James Farr and you, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Love to hear from you, whatever is on your mind. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Granddad, what's good?
Hey there, got us a quarter pounder with cheese and McNuggets.
Wow, haven't had our special McDonald's order in a minute.
Heard your little tic-tac-toe dance didn't get no likes.
Oh man, is Mom telling everybody?
You know she is.
There's a deal for every favorite grandson at McDonald's. Right now, get one favorite like a quarter pounder with cheese or 10-piece chicken McNuggets and get another for just $1. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
Your floors can go from clean to dirty fast. From juice spills, whoops, to muddy paw prints, to little sticky finger marks. Good thing your Swiffer WetJet works fast too. Swiffer WetJet easily cleans everyday messes as quick as they happen. The next mess is right around the corner. So grab your Swiffer WetJet and just spray, push, all clean.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
James Farr is with us. He is with the LA Progressive, laprogressive.com, right? That's the website?
That's exactly where
you have an article dropping today about the situation with the whistleblower officers in Pasadena Police Department that we were just discussing.
Right.
And they can just go to laprogressive.com
LA
to find
Progressive, Google my name, LA Progressive, but drop down. It'll be on the front page, but yeah, that's how you find it.
laprogressive.com. You can subscribe to it, and they'll send it to your email box every day.
Email, publish, I think probably 30 articles a day sometimes. So it's a deep dive of information from, locally across the world. Great writers.
And you have you got some regular columns, a public comment, which focuses on the bigger picture of LA County. Then you've got Message to the Grassroots on movements, and you have Speak Out, which is an opinion or an editorial. And you're going to be joining us the last Monday of the month, so you'll always have a new article coming out then.
Absolutely.
And as I mentioned, you can see me on there. Talk to Sharon, one of the publishers of LA Progressive, and we had quite an interesting conversation. So you did a Instagram story, and an article around what you call shiny objects, and saying that there are some activists in Pasadena that are having a private or semi-private meeting with the police chief, the mayor, and other city officials and certain community members. And you take issue with that because it's not a public meeting and because you feel they could be compromised. That's my interpretation. Is that fair to say?
I think it is a cautionary tale to all activists to be aware of the Shalomia Bowers syndrome, right? And so, but no, what I am saying about with the meeting, I didn't have an issue with any community member convening a meeting. My question and issue was with it, and it wasn't mine alone. This is what community members were, responding to, which was a forward-facing message that some of you are not included in some of us. And we're going to tout that we're going to put elected official, public servants, in front of a selected group of community members, and I just wanted to know why, what was going on.
Right, understood. So a couple things, because I talked with one of the one of the members of the organization, My Tribe Rise, and one of the things that they took issue with was that there's several community organizations that are convening this. Apparently, it's called Community Connections. And they want to know why you're only targeting one of those organizations, which is the one that's led by a woman, a black woman.
It had absolutely nothing to do with who led it, right? It was a question as to where are elected officials, where are our government resources being used, and is this open to the public? That's all. It wasn't a target directly to any black woman.
Right, but I mean, I read the article. There's only one organization that's mentioned.
There's only one organization that is listed on the communications.
Okay, I didn't look at it. I don't have it in front of me. I didn't look at it that deeply. But what she says is it's our mission. We must connect to correct. There's no hidden agenda or secret meetings. The community knows about the meeting and asks for the meeting, and she says, so do you. For me, I can understand the concern, because if you meet separately with police chief, mayor, whoever, it could be seen as giving them cover for, not addressing certain issues. That said, it sounds like she's trying to provide access. These organizations are trying to provide access to everyday people that you or I might have as journalists, where we get to ask, police chiefs and mayors questions one-on-one.
I don't know what the access is from Long Beach to Pasadena, right? And so for those who live in community, who are in community, who reside in the city, and it is not a dig swipe at the tribalism that happens in many communities. This was just a question of what is happening. Now, you and I come from, we understand political education. There's something about, this illusion of cozying up to law enforcement, right? Having conversation about community members and with law enforcement. Those are just things that, doesn't necessarily happen in movement.
Right. And I know there are some organizations like BLM that won't even meet with law enforcement, but every organization has a different approach and a different, a different outcome.
See, I think in this case, speaking straight to it, and you won't see, let's using BLM grassroots, you won't see them cozying up to politicians, right? Like there are certain forward-facing messages.
Well, not cozying up, but I do see politicians at their events.
You see them at their event, but you don't see the organization touting them.
No, they don't do endorsements.
They don't do endorsements.
They most definitely didn't endorse DJT.
No.
So the question is, well, we can leave it there. I don't to play the gender card on this. When there is no gender card.
Well,
to me,
she's
saying
I'm
gender
attacking
card
her
is
for as a woman.
It's a gender card to me is like race card. We only get one gender. It's not a card. We walk around as women all day long, just like you walk around as a black man all day long.
Absolutely.
So when people say you play the race card, all my cards are spades. That's what I was born
what
with.
I'm saying,
I don't have a secret white deck somewhere, and I don't have a secret,
I hear
male
you.
deck somewhere either.
But I don't. We're talking about the same person who also is posting memes of women being involved in the Sean Combs sex stuff.
Well, now we're talking about a whole personal. You guys have personal beef? Is this a personal beef?
This is absolutely
because
honestly,
I don't know what memes anyone posted other than now Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion.
What I see that is forward facing. I reached out to the organizers before the event was announced. I reached out to the organizer as recently as Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago via email. The city has not confirmed that the meeting is happening. The organizers have not confirmed.
It is.
That's great.
Apparently it is. I don't have any additional information, but I just want to be transparent in the fact I understand the concern when anytime you allow, and this is part of what I don't like about this conversation we're having right now, is that apparently we're being divided by officials in the city because of this.
What was divided?
This outcome.
What was divided is a forward-facing message to community that some of you are welcome and some of you are not. No one else put that message out but this organization. That's it. That's all.
Okay, well, we'll leave it right there for now because I don't want to, get. I know, I did one event with My Tribe Rise. I've seen them do some great work in the community around intervention, prevention, keeping the peace in the streets. I know that they're a hardworking organization, and I hope that you guys can sit down and work things through.
I don't disagree with you. I think they've done some excellent work in community, in some of their food giveaways. And this is not a dig specifically, but this was a specific issue. And it's a cautionary tale to all activists, right? To be aware of how you show up and how your actions are interpreted. And some people look at you as surrogates when you show up this way. That's all.
Let's go. Oh man, we only got. Let's not go. Well, you just hold that thought, Howard from Watts. We'll get to you. I just want to give James. You got time flies when you're on the radio. You got a minute. What do you want to say? What do you want to leave us with? What's your call to action today? I mean,
my call to action really is again to activists: be aware of a shiny object syndrome. Right? Be aware of how you show up in community. Be aware of your agency, right? This is certainly a marathon and not a race in terms of how we are working towards the liberation of our people and telling truth. But you also have to read the information, study the information, right? It's more than a chant, and it's more than just showing up and yelling sometimes, right? You got to read. Literacy in these spaces.
I have to read.
Yeah, you too.
I'm just kidding.
You too.
I'm just kidding. It's a big part of every weekend. You got to read. And you can start with the LA Progressive. LAProgressive.com is where you can get all of James's articles, including one dropping today that should sort out some of the confusion about what's happening with Pasadena Police Department.
A little bit.
Yeah, appreciate your work, and thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to coming back, Dominique.
Absolutely. Perfect time to call me. We got Mindful Monday, then you on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. GOP presidential hopeful and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley says the primary in her home state is not do or die. Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press, Haley acknowledged that she needs to do better than she did in the New Hampshire primary, but can still make a strong showing without actually winning the state. Family and friends are remembering the victims of the recent Joliet, Illinois murders. A vigil was held yesterday outside one of the homes where 7 of the 8 victims were found dead